Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things and okay. Ooh, excuse me. All right, so I wanted to just go over some of the mistakes that I've made while homeschooling, some of the accomplishments, some of the things that we did well in, and some of the things that are our goals and something that we're striving to do. So sometimes, a lot of times when I'm still new at the homeschooling, so I'm still trying to weigh out the good and the bad, trying to um, sift through the things that we need and don't need and things like that. So I'm still learning. I've only been homeschooling for 2 years. In August, I'll be going into my third year. So there were a lot of things that I'm still new to. So I just wanted to go over some of the things that this past year I felt like, I kind of failed in. Some of the things that I felt like were an accomplishment, and some of my goals that are some of my goals, the things that I expect to accomplish maybe this coming year. So I made a little list so I wouldn't forget. But some of the fails. Okay, one of my fails definitely was sticking to a schedule and actually completing that schedule. And I mean, as far as like organizing, because I'm really horrible with organizing and things like that. So sometimes I would make a schedule, and I would kind of stick with the routine, but sometimes some of the things that I planned on doing that day, I would just be like, oh, we'll just get to it later, or we'll get to it or whatever. So I want to just make sure that I'm sticking to the schedule as far as getting, even if I have to do it later that night, whatever, I need to make sure that everything that I plan to do that day gets done, no matter what. So just making sure that I stick to that and being more organized. I say this every time I start. I mean, I've only done it for 2 years now, but I always say, okay, I'm going to be very organized. I'm going to make sure I do this and this and this. I'm going to plan all this stuff out. And some of them days, I'm just not up to being as organized as I should be, which is, I think, is key to homeschooling and to even being sane when homeschooling. So I feel like I need to make sure that I'm sticking to it and making sure that I have everything situated and organized better. And the way of being organized, which is something else that I have on my list, is writing things down. I'm really bad when it comes to writing things down. I will say I'm quick to say. Hold on, I'm trying to get this thing. Oh, it's not plugged up. That's why. Okay, so I have a really bad habit of saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this." Um, okay, I just remember it. Like I always say I need to write it down. I need to write it down, but I never do. I just end up trying to. I say I'm going to remember. I'm going to remember, and then later on I'm thinking, what the heck was I supposed to be remembering? What the heck was I supposed to be writing down? I don't remember. It was something important. It was something I wanted to do, and now I have no idea. So writing things down is very important. And I think just writing things down for a schedule or whatever, I always just feel like I can remember it. I can get it done. No, it's very important for me to start writing things down and having a set thing of what all things I need to cover, what it's just very important. My mom used to say that all the time growing up. I'm unorganized. And that is me to the T. Like, and that's still a habit I'm trying to break now. It's being better organized, writing things down, knowing the things that I want to do, seeing a visual so I don't forget. Because sometimes you just forget. There's so much going on that you can forget the smallest thing or even the biggest thing just because you're worried about everything else. So writing things down is key for me. Something else that is a struggle, and I wouldn't say necessarily a fail, but sometimes when we watch other people's homeschool videos, I feel like it can sometimes be a stumbling block because sometimes the way that we can see activity or a lesson plan or whatever works for a particular family, we feel like it's going to work for us, or whatever they did will work for us. And that was my biggest thing. Like, I had to stop myself from watching videos, not because of anything that they were doing, but just because I would get in my head that this would have to work for me because it worked for them, or I have to do it this way. And no, sometimes you have to use the information and use it in a way that works for you and your family. So for me, it's easy for me to, I mean, like, even when it comes to what you have for breakfast or how your morning routine goes. I mean, my children wake up early and they like to get going. They like to eat. They eat. They want meal. You know what I mean? They don't just, they get up, they're ready to go early in the morning. When the sun is up, my son, Jeremiah, he will make a call. The sun is up. So it's time to get up. It's time to get going. So I have to cater to what they're doing and what they need to be done. So even though a certain schedule or a certain activity or whatever it is works for a certain family, you can use those things, ideas and things, and fit them where they work for your family. But it doesn't have to be ideally like someone else's. Or if another homeschool works at a certain structure in a certain way, it might just not be for you and yours. So sometimes I would just allow other videos to be a stumbling block for me, and trying to do exactly maybe what I've seen somewhere else would affect me, and it would just cause too much chaos in my mind. So I've had to draw away from that and just come up with ideas myself, or think of things different ways for myself. So sometimes you just have to be creative and put your thinking cap on and figure out different ways that will work for your family. Find the little interest that they have and fix it and work it in a way that suits you, you know. So that was a thing for me. I think also with this year, I would say that I failed to work with my son Malachi as much as I think I could have. When I say work with him, I say challenge him. But this is my son that has Downs. He is 9 years old, and I feel like I could have challenged him a bit more. And sometimes I feel like I didn't challenge him. If I felt like something would be too hard, I would just be like, okay, let me just do something a little easier. And I don't think that's the way to go with any kid. They need to be challenged. I mean, I go in on my daughter about how you don't need to be trying to worry about the easy work. You have to work on the things that are challenging. And I think that I missed that with Malachi this year. And I think it was more for selfish reasons, because it's easier for me to just give him the easier work, because my patience sometimes is just like, you know. So I think that I should have challenged him more, and I think I'm going to make sure I do that this time, is to challenge him more, even if I don't think he's getting it right away, even if it takes days, weeks, months, and I don't see any progress. I've learned that you do see progress sometimes, and even I do see progress. It might take a while, but the moment you think they're not catching on or they're not learning, they got it, and you're just wanting it to happen when you want it to happen, because you already know it, so you expect them to know it like that. But I think that was my biggest thing with Malachi. I think that I need to challenge him more and make sure that he's being challenged. And not saying that he's not ever challenged, but I think that I should challenge him more and have more patience with that. Yeah, so that's one. All right, so I want to talk about a few of the accomplishments. As far as I was able to definitely see growth in all of the children and the things that they, because I did make a thing that I wanted to see them accomplish by the end of the year. So I can't get it out. I wanted to make sure that they were able to reach these specific goals by the end of the year, and I was able to see that. So, for instance, with Jackson, his handwriting has gotten so much better. Beginning of the year wasn't as neat and as clean and as crisp. This year, it's good to go. Okay, so with the accomplishments, I did see a lot of growth in all of the children. They, a lot of the things that I really wanted them to focus on, or some of the things that I thought were things that were lacking in, or things that really needed to be focused on. And I have to say that with my children, the only two that are really actually homeschooled age right now are Malachi and Marija, and my oldest daughter and my oldest son. And Jackson will officially be a kindergartner in August. So these are the two that I'm really focusing on in homeschool. Not really, because I focus on all of them in homeschool, but these are the two who are actually supposed to be homeschooled. But anyway, so with the accomplishments, I did see a lot of growth. And with my daughter, I saw a lot of growth with her writing. That was something that was big for me, because I felt like she was lacking, and she was a little bit behind on writing and reading when she was in school. So those were the things I felt like her writing and reading should have been better than they were. So those were the things that I was focusing on with her, and those aspects with writing and reading. And I've definitely seen a growth in that, especially with her writing, because I kind of just push that every time I get a chance. I try to have her writing something, because I think that is very important. Just knowing how to write and knowing how to communicate your thoughts and put them on paper, or to speak them. And that is something that I'm trying to get her. She's still not exactly where I think that she should be or can be, but that is still, I can see the progress, and that's what I'm looking for. Even with my son Jackson, I was able to see growth in his writing, his math. I mean, I can definitely see the growth, and it's cool to see that, because with Jackson, I'm teaching him the basics. With my daughter and Malachi, they got their basics pretty much from school. So, teaching sounds and, numbers and all these different things, they learn here. And I can tell actually that, teaching them not just what the level of teaching that the requirement for the school, but teaching them things that I know they can learn is really amazing, because they can learn so much. So anyway, but yeah, I've definitely seen the accomplishments. I've definitely seen the growth in all of my children, even Yahuda to Jeremiah to Marija. I've seen growth in all of them. Now, Yahuda will even sit down and do flashcards with me. He wants to do them. He'll get the flashcards and force me to do the flashcards with him. So that's a good thing. So I've seen the growth in all of them, which is amazing, and which is good, and which is what you look for as a homeschool mom. Sometimes that's your worry, like, oh, are they going to be, other people worry about, are they going to get all the education that they need? Are they going to make sure? And when you see that actually happening and unfolding, it's good for you, and it's a comforting thing for you, and you say, okay, yes, they're getting it, they got it, I'm good. Okay, so just seeing the growth. So the goals that I had for them were met. Like I said, with math, reading, and writing, all of those different things, I was able to see the growth. And I think those are the biggest accomplishments. I mean, I can go about each child and what they did and grow, but I mean, that would be on and on and on. But yeah, so I was able to see the growth. And I think that that's the biggest accomplishment that you can do in homeschool, is making sure that they're getting it and achieving and excelling. And that's what I was able to see, and I'm still seeing. And it impresses me every time to see how much the children pick up, and even things that you don't even think, like, dang, how did you even get that? Like, I didn't even think you were paying attention, or whatever. They're getting it. They are getting it. So that's something that was key. All right, so goals. So, of course, like I said, some of the fails will be my goals. So sticking to a schedule, of course, is going to be a goal of mine, making sure that I stick to it, or that I am following everything that I know I need to get done is getting done, and sticking to it every time and not slacking. I think having that order, that organization, is very important in a household, period. So, yes. Another goal is to make it more fun, and not make homeschooling a little bit more fun, and not necessarily for my younger ones, because I do think I focus more on fun things for them. But for my daughter, I think she needs a little bit more hands-on things. I do think that every child should be able to sit down and do work for a certain amount of time, but not all day, not every day. I do think she's the type of learner that she has to be in. She has to be doing activities, moving, doing something. That's the type of work that she loves. If I have her go out in the garden or go out and do whatever, like physical work, she's all for it. No complaints. She loves that type of stuff. And she'll probably get to it before I even ask her to. But when it comes to like sitting down and doing work, that's just not good for her. She's twirling around, she's getting distracted and all these different things. So I think I need to do things that make it more fun for her. So it can just interest her a little bit more. So that's definitely my goal for next year. Just being more hands-on, things like that for her. I have challenged the children here, but I guess I'm just really talking about Malachi because I do challenge Jackson and Jeremiah and Yehuda and Maraja. I think the only one I don't challenge enough is Malachi. So write out a plan, goal, and schedule for each child. So I did that anyway. But that's still one of my goals, to just make sure. I have goals for each individual child. So I think just being more organized, making sure that I'm taking care of the things that need to be taken care of. Each individual child's needs and education-wise is being met. So yes, and that is difficult with having multiple children, homeschooling multiple children. It is difficult. Yes, I understand that some of my children are not school age yet, but in my head and in my mind, they still need to be learning. Like, they can still learn. Jeremiah learns pretty much the same thing that Jackson learns. Jackson's learning more now. So, yeah, I just feel like it's very important to homeschool all of them. I mean, like I said, I'm starting to now homeschool Yehuda, teaching him the Hebrew letters and all those different things that I think is necessary now, than wait until I think, okay, well, it's time to stop playing with blocks. Now let's sit down and do some work. I mean, that's just, I feel like, no, be doing some work too. I mean, I don't know. That's just me. But anyway, yes, so those are my fails, accomplishments, and goals. And, when you're homeschooling, it is difficult. But sometimes, if we look at other people a lot and look at what they're doing and think that, oh, man, they just seem like they have the perfect homeschooling. No. Like, that it is difficult. Like, it is not easy at all. The children drive me crazy. I drive myself crazy. So it is a lot still. I can't pretend like it's just everything's perfect, everything's going according to plan all the time. Absolutely not. I mean, absolutely not. There are days sometimes where I say, hey, we're not gonna do as much. We're gonna do just simple stuff and we're gonna take it easy. If it's one of them type of days. So I mean, you just have to cater to your house, cater to your needs, your children's needs, and what works for you. So these are some of the things that I recognize that I failed in, things that I know that I need to do for next time, and the things that I saw that really went really well. So yeah, that's it. So just wanted to share that. Shalom.